Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. Thank you to all of you, to the Legends Row Committee, the Selection Committee, Ron, for founding this extraordinary recognition for what one single human being can do for a community, for our country, for our world. It is an inspired idea that has inspired us all, I think, to do just that little bit better every day. So thank you for your initiative in making this possible. Thank you for participating in all of our dreams, all of our lives, for acknowledging them. It is just incredibly moving. Thank you to all of the members of Parliament, our country's representatives, those that give us a voice and who make this country so great. I have traveled everywhere, as you can see, and I can tell you that I'm such a proud Canadian. Every time I walk into a shop and everybody hears me speaking English, they think I must be from America. And when I tell them I'm Canadian, with a big smile, they all seem very relieved. They are just so happy. And they say, wow, oh, Canada, what a great country. We've always heard so many wonderful things about it. People are so nice. You have some beautiful nature. Everybody that they've met from Canada, which is all of you, has just given them such a wonderful impression of Canadians. So thank you all for making me proud as I walk through all the streets and all the countries in the entire world. Today, I must say that if you put a violin in my hand, I'm much better at expressing and at sharing what I really feel. But I hope that through words, I've never been one to read, not even music. My father taught me. He practiced with me 2 hours every day, note by note, every single piece from Mozart's Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star until the most recent concerto that I played, Wieniawski Concerto in South Africa. Everything he taught me, note by note, by ear. He would play it for me, and I would play it on my instrument. And so I'm used to playing by heart. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just speaking from my heart and from my appreciation. I wanted to tell my fellow inductees that you have given me an emotional roller coaster from Frank building literally the roots and foundation of our city today and the streets that we will be walking on. I was just in Port Credit a couple of days ago, walking through the new development, and I cannot wait to see it finished. It's such a beautiful city that we have here, so thank you for building that and for your contributions to everyone. Annie, I had a couple of members in my family who also had their own cancer battles, and I just realized that I saw your film multiple times, and I'm now in awe that I'm in front of the person whose story inspired this and who inspired so many other people to take their own journeys and fight when it counts, fight for what is worth fighting for. So thank you for your incredible inspiration and courage. And Nav, your story, I think we just touched the surface of it. We just scratched the surface of it. It reminds me very much of my own parents' first humble beginnings here. They also came with 3 violin cases, 3 suitcases, and just a couple dollars in their back pocket. And it was by the graces of my uncle Edward, and his son is here today, Richard, that we were able to come to this great country. So in fact, we're not responsible for choosing Canada. He was, because he could see what was being built here, that this was such a beautiful, growing country. And he chose Canada, and we stayed because it's just, I have thought through every single one of the most important projects that have ever happened in my entire life have roots in Canada. Either it was Canadian government that sponsored, funded, helped fund and subsidize the very, very expensive life in New York as I went to school, despite tuition being covered, but life is also extremely expensive. And the projects here were sponsored by Canadians that wanted to help. And I started thinking this last week, what is it about Canada? What is it about this beautiful city of Mississauga that inspires people to be this way? And it's a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of everyone's energy that we see somebody in the elevator and we say hello with a smile. We help somebody when something drops on the floor. I had friends coming to visit from France who dropped their phone and walked 20 meters, and a fellow Canadian picked it up, ran after them, and gave it back to them. And they were so shocked because that doesn't happen anywhere else. And it's because of, the silent, invisible individuals that I don't even know the names of, who have created this beautiful environment, this beautiful city, this beautiful philosophy that is Canada. And I want to thank them, along with my fellow inductees. Today, I would like to dedicate this award actually to my parents. My father, who you saw in the video, unfortunately passed away last year he had Parkinson's, and he had a good 10 years of struggle, but he fought until the very last day to make one of my last projects possible. He not only made my very first violin out of Canadian maple, but he also made my very last bow, on which I was able to realize this impossible feat of the Paganini Caprices, and that's coming out soon. So I wanted to dedicate it to them because they're the ones who came, like Nev, to Canada. They're the ones who, my mother worked in a knitting factory before she went into a symphony orchestra. My father scraped ice off of pipes, but these were some of the happiest days of our lives because they could do what they loved. One day, they were able to do what they loved. They left a country that was their own. In fact, I was born in Shanghai, but unfortunately, classical music was banned for 10 years. And so growing up in Canada, there was not a single day that I didn't recognize that to do what I love, just to be able to practice my instrument, is a privilege. That is not a given to everyone in the world. That is a privilege that we have here in this great country, and I thank everyone for making that a reality. Rome was not built in a day, and Mississauga was not built in a day. I have seen it grow. It is extraordinary. I mean, the skyline of Mississauga is impressive. I remember when this building was the only thing you could see for kilometers, and today you can barely see it. You have to go through all the skyscrapers, and it's just incredible. And I wanted all of you to know, particularly my friends, my childhood friends who are here. They're still my closest people in this universe. They're the people that have been with me through growing up. They keep me grounded. They have never treated me differently from the day I walked in at age 12 into school and didn't know who I was yet and played this funny instrument called a violin. They didn't judge me then. They don't judge me today. And they have been with me the entire time. And I have taken their kindness, generosity, friendship, love with me on every stage in the world. And when I stood in London, when I stood on that stage in London or Beijing, that one of the last productions was in Beijing, I've often had people ask me, do you get stage fright? And I said, what is stage fright? I mean, I am starting to understand what that is today, because speaking is kind of frightful. But what is stage fright? I'm doing what I love. I'm just standing on the shoulder of giants. And, my parents are giants. My friends are my giants. My community, my city are my giants. And after visiting every city imaginable that I even knew the name of, when it came down to having a family, I came back home, and my daughter was born in Credit Valley Hospital in Mississauga. My one and only daughter, Lily Marie, who's I think is over there somewhere. Hello, darling. Because I wanted her to grow up in Canada. I wanted her to be a part of this country where everybody in the world says, what lovely people, responsible people, people that care about each other, people that celebrate history, heritage, culture, roots, people that are kind, people that have incredible respect and care for nature. That's all anybody could want for their children. So I know there's a saying, it takes a village to raise a child. And I just want you to know that you are my village. You're my city. You're my people. And I thank you. And this is, as Nav says, it's for all of you. We don't stand here alone. We wouldn't even be happy if we couldn't share this with our loved ones. And I also wanted to say, just in closing, that I also look to the future, because not only am I honored by the past inductees, our present today, my fellow 3 inductees, but also the future ones. And I hold a responsibility now today to continuing to build a beautiful future for my daughter and all of yours. So thank you for being with me all these years. Thank you for being part of my journey. And this is really for all of you. With all my love.